Howdy AdWords fans, and welcome back to this exciting chapter where you and I are going to get started talking about conversion tracking in Google AdWords. I know I say this a lot, but conversion tracking really is the most important way for you to assess and measure the results of your account. There are certain things like, keyword match types, understanding account structure that are the most important things when it comes to building a successful account or building an account that's going to be successful. Tracking conversions is the most important thing when it comes to measuring results. What are conversions? A conversion is any action that's valuable for one of your potential customers or visitors to take on your site. It doesn't necessarily have to be a sale. People usually refer to conversions as sales, but a conversion doesn't have to be a sale. A conversion is any action that is valuable to you that a customer or website visitor can take on your website. Put a little bit more clearly, tracking conversions is how effective are your ad campaigns, in leading visitors to take valuable actions on your site. That's what tracking conversions allow you to do. And tracking conversions is really as it sounds. It's setting something up, and we're going to talk about exactly what that is, and we're going to walk through all the steps, but it's configuring a number of different settings that are going to allow your AdWords campaign to tell you when an ad click led to a sale, or when an ad click led to a valuable action that you determine is valuable for your business. So what are some of the benefits of tracking conversions? First of all, it's the number one way to increase your ROI. ROI, in case you don't know, stands for return on investment. We're all in this to make money, okay? So let's just be clear. Nobody's advertising without the ultimate goal of turning a profit somewhere down the line. You might be advertising for a free ebook, you might be advertising for a free video, but at some point you believe that this traffic that you're buying with AdWords is going to ultimately pay you back, but more importantly, it's going to pay you back more money than what you spent on getting the traffic to your site. That's return on investment. The return, how much you've made on your investment in the ads. Tracking conversions is the only way that we could know whether or not our account is making money, whether or not our account is successful. It's tracking the user's behavior on our site, and it's giving us an exact dollar value, matching it up with the amount that we spend on AdWords. Sure, you might know kind of intuitively or based on guesswork that your business was making $500 a month before you started your ad campaigns, then you put up an ad campaign, an AdWords campaign that was spending $200 a month, and then you started making $1,000 a month, so you said, hey, I'm spending $200 a month on advertising and I'm making $500 a month extra than I was making before. My advertising is profitable. Yes, you might be right, but you don't know where in your account that profit's coming from. You don't know which ads, which keywords, which ad groups, what times of the day are people converting and taking those actionable steps on your site. And that's very important things to know, which leads us to the second main benefit of conversion tracking, which is it allows you to see which keywords, ads, ad groups, campaigns are generating the business. And I cannot stress this enough. We've seen this time and time and time again in all of our client accounts. You'll have a big campaign, there'll be a lot of keywords, a lot of ad groups, a lot of campaigns, different schedules for different ads, different landing pages for those ads. And while there might be certain keywords that are spending a lot of money and have a very high click-through rate, those keywords are actually converting with lesser profit, even though their costs per click might be cheaper on a per-click basis and their click-through rates are better. While there'll be other keywords where their click-through rate is not as good, and the cost per click is more expensive, and those keywords are converting much more profitably. So conversion tracking allows you to say, hey, these keywords, while I spent $200 this month, going back to our example, I might have spent $200 this month and I made $500, but $80 was spent wasted on keywords that weren't driving business. So I could have spent just $120 and made that same $500 of profit. That's what conversion tracking allows you to see. It allows you to identify the specific components, and a component is a keyword. It's a match type. It's a certain variation of a keyword. It's a time of the day. It's a schedule. It's a geographic location. there are many different components, but conversion tracking will allow you to break down the campaign and see exactly which components of your account are generating that business, so you could trim the wasted spend from your account and boost your ROI. Get a greater return for the money you're investing in the ads. That's the concept of conversion tracking. You could track multiple conversions with AdWords. You don't have to choose one action. For example, you might have a newsletter sign up and you might have a form submission. For example, say you're a web design agency. You create websites for people, for your clients. So you might have a newsletter sign up, which is an actionable and valuable action a person could take on your website, because you know that you have a really good follow-up email campaign and you tend to convert 2% of your email autoresponder audience into actual clients. So that's an actionable and valuable conversion to track. A newsletter sign up. You also might have your regular sales inquiry form submission, which is even more valuable because you close 25% of the people who submit a form you turn into clients, so it's even more valuable. So you could actually track both those things. You could set up 2 separate conversions and you could set up multiple conversions. There's no limit to how many different conversions you could track in your account. So that's a very, very good thing and important to keep in mind. You don't have to pick and choose which conversion is best for you, what specific action that you'd like to track. The next thing you need to think about is your business. What actions are important to your business? Every single business is going to have different actions and steps a visitor could take that will represent different amounts of value to that company, to your company. So while you might want to track phone calls, you might want to track form submissions, you might want to track newsletter signups, you might want to track views of a key page. We'll talk about the different types of conversions in a moment. Before you start thinking about setting up those conversions and adding the tag to your website, we'll talk about the tag, you really want to think about the funnel a person takes, not their entire buyer journey, but how a person interacts with your website and what are the important things that would represent value. Now let's talk about representing value now. There are 2 main types of conversions that we're going to talk about learning how to track. There are, for the sake of full disclosure, there are more than just these 2, but these account for 99% of all the different types of conversions that you're going to ever track in your account. So the primary conversion types. First, we have website conversions, and website conversions are by far the most common sort of conversion that a general advertiser using AdWords is going to want to set up. Under the canopy of website conversions, we have a few different types of conversions. We have, first and foremost, a purchase and a sale. As it sounds, a purchase-sale conversion is tracking when somebody buys something on your website. It's a very important conversion to have because you could track the specific value of your item. So for example, let's say you offer 1 item for sale. You offer a free AdWords course, hey, what do you know? And you know it costs X amount of dollars. So you'll be able to track exactly how many orders you received, and you'll know how much you spent, so you could get a very clear picture of your return on investment from purchases and sales. If you're an e-commerce store that sells hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of unique products, you could customize the conversion tracking code, which we'll talk about in a second, to record in AdWords what we call transaction-specific values. The value of the conversion is the value of your shopping cart minus the shipping in most cases. So you could actually you could modify the code with some custom JavaScript or custom PHP, depending on the language of your website. We're not going to get all into that. There's no need to get into that because in most cases, you're not going to need to use it. The next main form of a website conversion is a sign-up, like we spoke about. Newsletter sign-ups. It might be people signing up to an RSS feed. It might be email subscribers to your blog. It could be a lot of different forms of sign-ups, and oftentimes sign-ups represent a lower level of value as compared to a purchase or a sale, or we'll talk about next as a lead, then, but it's still valuable, and you still want to track, you still want to know which keywords, ad groups, campaigns are leading to people signing up for your newsletter and your RSS feed, whatever it may be. So you could track a sign-up. The most common form of conversion tracking in the website conversion tracking category is tracking leads through form submissions. Okay? Form submissions are very, very common. Even e-commerce companies will have form submissions on their About Us page, in the footer, in the Contact Us page. But any service-related industry that is looking to generate leads to turn into clients is generally done through a form submission or a phone call. Phone call is a separate category. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about phone call submissions phone call conversions, in a moment. And the last major form of conversion tracking for website conversions is viewing a key page. And this one is often forgot about. You might have a page on your website, for example, let's say your pricing page, or let's say your testimonials page. And you know that if a person got to this page, that means they are an interested, educated consumer, and they're getting close to the lower levels of the buying funnel. They've expressed a lot of interest and they've engaged in a meaningful way with your company, with your brand, with your website. And they viewed a key page. While they might not have taken an actionable step yet, they might not have taken that valuable action of submitting a form, buying your product, signing up for your newsletter, but they viewed key pages. They viewed your pricing page, they viewed your testimonials page, whatever it may be. And that's something which you definitely will want to track, because you're going to want to know which keywords, what match types, what times of the day is my ad campaign generating traffic that's getting far enough into my website, getting deep enough to view and land on these key pages, regardless of whether or not they actually bought something. That's a really important thing to know. So viewing key pages is a really crucial step when it comes to setting up conversion tracking. Now let's talk about the requirements for these sorts of conversion tracking. And don't worry, just like we talked about with remarketing, we're going to go get involved and go back to the computer and we're going to actually create conversions. We can't really create conversions for Poppin because I don't have access to their site, unfortunately. Maybe one day when we do manage their campaigns, we will, but even then, I probably won't be able to show it to you because of client agency confidentiality. Be that as it may, we're going to actually set up conversions. So hang in there. To set up any of these types of conversions, you need a few things. You need a website. Now, I might not have had to say that. It's probably self-explanatory, but keep that in mind. You need a website. Most importantly, you need the ability to edit the website, specifically editing the code. Now, I don't want you to get all crazy on me now and get all nervous about code. Relax. 9 out of 10 of you, and most likely you, are going to be able to do this yourself. If you've built your site on Weebly or Squarespace or PageCloud or WordPress or Wix or Unbounce or Duda or any of the other web builders out there, there are lots of them, you're going to be able to do this yourself. So hang in there. So you need a website with the ability to edit the code, because the conversion tracking tag works similar to the remarketing tag in the fact that in the sense that it needs to be placed on a specific page. Conversion tags are placed on the individual page that signifies a conversion. Notice how I am stressing the individual page. Because if you remember, our remarketing tag was global. That was the whole concept of remarketing. We want our remarketing tag to be global. We want it to be applied to every single page on our website. If we have 1,000 pages on our website, our remarketing tag should fire when every one of those pages is loaded. Not so with conversion tracking, because the conversion tag should only be placed on the individual page that signifies a conversion. This is generally a thank you page, okay? When somebody purchases something from your website, at the end of the checkout, you land on an either order confirmation or a thank you page. For example, when you bought this course, you landed on an order confirmation page. That order confirmation page has my conversion tracking code. That tells me that you made it through the funnel, you purchased the code, you purchased the, not the code, you purchased the course. Thank you very much, I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you're enjoying the course so far. It's, you know, we've gotten to know each other for quite some time already by now, unless you skipped here, which get out if you did, go back to the beginning. But either way, you landed on a page that had my conversion tracking code and my conversion tag fired when you loaded the page, and it told my AdWords account to track conversion if you came from an AdWords campaign.